All right, let's do it. Hello, everyone. So, welcome to our fifth Magma Q&A. This time, I am Sung Yat. I work in product. We have Wojtek here, who is our CTO. Ryan, who is our QA developer and also just resident Magma artist. And as well as Anya Robbins, who you probably don't need an introduction, but she's in charge of moderation and really helping just make sure that all of our events that we really host are going really smoothly. So today, before the Q&A begins, it's time for our little showcase in terms of new features that we're currently developing, as well as talking about missions for the future of Magma. But before we begin, just want to do a little bit of a shout out slash like a little bit of a mention to really highlight that. Let me see if I can share my screen here. That the Art Jam contest is currently live. So for all of you who have seen this, you probably don't need a bit of an introduction, but for those of you who are new, we are hosting a Art Jam contest right now. And this is in collaboration with Huion, in which we're trying to see who can create the best art jam, basically, that showcases both artistic skill, but also moderation and art jam organization abilities. This challenge will close on June 3rd, so it's a little over next week, and this is a collaborative challenge. So if you can come together with one or two of your friends, you'd be able to join this challenge, host an art jam, and show us what you've got. In terms of rewards, we have several types of Huion tablets that are available. So if you're available to go check out the graphics and see what they've provided for us, that would be amazing. Huion probably doesn't need a bit of an introduction, but in case you don't know them, they are a provider of drawing tablets and drawing devices, and they've just been an amazing partner to work with. So it's really exciting to see them collaborate with us in order to bring this competition with you guys. So the criteria, as you probably already know, involves collaboration, originality and technical merit, visual clarity, organization, and theme interpretation. The theme for this time is worlds colliding. How you would like to interpret that is up to you. But overall, there's a bit of flexibility in terms of what you decide to deliver. Your judges will be Ryan, Kimain, and Jamil, who you've probably already seen or heard about. So if you haven't checked out their social media links, feel free to go give them all a follow. And yeah, really excited to see what you all deliver. Outside of this, I also want to take the opportunity to answer a couple questions. First, if you have anything related to the Art Jam competition, feel free to send into the chat. But I wanted to address, I would say, two big topics of discussion, just so we're all aligned on the same page. So topic of discussion number one, sanctions. So it's I see a lot of discussions about whether or not you'd be able to receive the prizes because of the sanction description that we have. We want to really iterate that when we say sanctions here, we don't mean tariffs or trade restrictions. We straight up just mean if trade is not allowed between the US and one country. So Canada is fine, Europe is fine, it will probably be all right. And even if these prizes aren't able to be directly delivered to you, if you do win, rest assured we will find a way to provide a prize of equal value to you, and we'll reach out to you in order to organize that. Secondly, one other question that we've been seeing in the chats and all the discussions is whether or not the Art Jam has to be available to everyone. So the answer to this is not necessarily. However, we would strongly encourage it because collaboration is an important part of this criteria. So an example of this would be, for instance, maybe you and your couple of friends may draw a template or may set everything up. And then afterwards, when everything is set up, you unhide the Art Jam, everybody can hop in and everybody can draw. Alternatively, other message, just spitballing here, is maybe you open the jam and then you only select a couple of people to draw at the same time, just so you can moderate it, right? There are many different ways for you to experiment and get people involved in collaborating on your art jam. But what we really want is to see both artistic skill, but also your ability to create a space where everyone feels valued and everybody feels like they're able to contribute and draw in any way that they see fit. So before I move on to sneak peeks and showcases for what we've currently been working on, any questions regarding the Art Jam competition? Da-da-da-da. All right. If not, then it is okay.
Yeah,
So
they didn't have any. Sorry, they didn't have any questions in the AMA text channel about the competition specifically either. So
Okay.
yeah, folks,
So I'm
if you have any questions in the future, or if you decide to take part and then you start having questions, we do have a dedicated text channel for that competition. So go ahead and look under, I believe it's the join the tech side section right below the general chat. You'll have the Art Jams text channel.
Perfect. All right, so let's dive into a bit of more of the fun stuff then, in terms of a showcase of like what we're currently working on. Wojtek, would you like to take the stage and talk about feed?
Yes, definitely. Should I screen share? Do you have, I can screen share, I think. Let me just find the button. Okay, so some of you might already seen it or even use it because it has been in a private beta for a while. There's already very cool stuff posted on the feed. Okay, let me see. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so once you get access, or rather once we roll this out to everyone, you will have this additional item here, which is the feed, where you'll be able to actually go in there and see all of the updates from your network. So you can see that I followed Magma quite a lot of folks, probably 100 or so. So I get to see all the cool updates from my network happening, and I'm really seeing like a lot of very cool designs posted daily, which is quite exciting to see how all of you use the platform. Interestingly, like, you know, it's not just about the images. You can actually also post like some text updates. So I actually see like also some cool stories. I can see here we've got some like explanation about the OCs, about the backstory. So it's really fun to see like how this creativity of all of you shines through the feed. By the way, of course, as usual, I would recommend everyone to also follow like our Magma profile, because we also try to keep everyone engaged with some of the cool updates and showcasing some of the great things happening in the community. When it comes to the feed, you're actually able to post. So if you go to like the new post, once you get access, you can simply just type some message in here and post it as a regular update, or you can actually go and link a Magma canvas in a similar way as you do when posting to the gallery. The one difference is that, and that's something that is worth to be aware of, is that right now when posting from the feed, you're actually posting the link to the drawing. So it's gonna be kind of we call this like live link. So if I post this, anyone will have a link and can join me there. It's great when you actually want to share a link for your network to join. So whoever is online can hop in, make any edits, like add their own character in somewhere in there. So pretty much when you want to kind of start a collaboration. Ahead of the public launch, we also actually want to make it in a way where you can decide whether you want to post the live link to your canvas or a static image as you were posting to the gallery. So it's just, you know, it's just a preview of the image. People, like folks, can comment and give you some feedback, but they can't join and edit it. So yeah, that's quite exciting. Right now in the beta, the feed is please be mindful that it's safe for work only. So like any content that is inappropriate, inflammatory, intended for adults is not allowed and may be removed. We are planning to add a special like flag for the not safe for work content. So actually it will be possible to mark such content in the future and post it too. However, only once we add that, because we want to make sure that we can also kind of mark this content properly and make sure that whoever is either not allowed because of their age, for example, or just don't want to see not safe for work content, does not see it in their feed. So yeah, I think that's probably it. Unless am I missing something? Sonia, Marta,
Yeah, I
or
think it's
Ryan?
good to note that not everybody has access to feed, right? Because currently it's still very much in like the beta testing and like early access phase, right? So we're just slowly trickling it out to a couple of users, really testing to see how it works. But we are hoping to have it fully released relatively soon. Anything else?
I think that's it on the feed, I believe.
Okay, great.
Maybe we
So
can add that. Sorry to jump in. Maybe you can add that also. Feed is a way to show to the world your gallery, right? Because now the images you put in your profiles gallery are only visible when somebody will go to your profile, right? But on the feed, you can also share images that come from your gallery. Actually, they are shared automatically, right? So this is a way, a place where you can see posts from all your following people together without necessity of going to individual pages of profiles of each people. So it's easier to browse from the updates from the people you follow. If it's not obvious what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and you actually reminded me about one thing that I skipped, and that I think it's also worth highlighting, which is let me just quickly reshare, is that one thing that we weren't where we were discussing whether we actually needed like for the launch or not really was the reposting someone else's work, which turns out that it's quite exciting, I think, to everyone. So it's not actually just about highlighting your own work, but we actually already in that beta of the feed we see like everyone reposting someone else's work, giving them some words of encouragement or feedback, or just like spreading the word about some very cool piece of artworks. So I see a lot of artworks in my feed are actually being the reposts rather than original posts. So I think it's a great way to kind of kind of in some way collaborate with your friends on Magma and like share each other creations to the networks and help spread the news to everyone's like followers. Plus maybe one more thing that's worth mentioning is that we also as some, especially like some of you that might have been using Magma for a longer time, maybe even from AGIO or maybe like pre-Argens, let's say. Like I think previously it was a bit hard to like meet friends on Magma because you pretty much needed to find it directly into the canvas. You needed like someone to post it somewhere, find it, and then join folks there. With Argens, it became like much easier because you can just go there to this space and meet people in real time. Some feedback we got, it points to the fact that with art gems, it also might be, sometimes tricky because in some cases, some of us might be a bit more shy. When you join a canvas, you don't know anyone. There's maybe quite a lot of pressure to start drawing with people that you never met before. So we also are thinking about other ways to connect you with other artists. So one of these ways is that you're gonna start seeing some of the recommendations in the in the feed and in the like gallery, so you can actually discover artists that might be interesting that you would like to follow. Initially, like a lot of that is based on the fact whether you've drawn with someone previously or not, but we are also thinking about other ways to kind of help you figure out which artist might be interesting to you based on the interest that you selected when you signed up for Magma and some other factors as well.
Yeah, I would like to add that we have now maybe two ways of checking up on what the people you follow are doing. Like from the following lists, you can see the live updates, like who is drawing now, on what canvas, on what art gem. But from the feed, you can see what was happening throughout last hours, days, somebody in the chat, CJ, asked if there is some kind of algorithm or this is chronological. So for now, it is chronological. So from top, at the top, we hold the newest updates, and you can scroll down to see what was happening before. So sometimes you can miss if somebody posted a live canvas few hours ago and the activity ended, you can miss it. But for real-time activities, you can go to your followers list, and there is like a small widget that shows up a tooltip with a canvas they are drawing right now. But on the feed, you can also see posts from, as Wojtek mentioned, posts that are reshared from somebody you are not directly following. So you can see more updates every day.
Nice. Okay.
Nice.
So if so, that is the feed. All right. So next up, we're going to talk about a couple moderation changes that are coming to Magma, right? So when it comes to what we're going to be implementing in the future, we do understand that as Magma grows as a platform, there is an inherent risk with potential bad actors coming to our platform in terms of like trolls and other people that are really hopping on, right? And when it comes to how we're addressing these issues, we are going to be looking at it from for several perspectives, right? On our end, we are going to be enhancing a couple features in our moderation kit in order to help us catch specific issues faster, right? So not going to bore you with the details, but we're improving our internal moderation tools, which will enable us to further restrict or tailor activity. So if someone is being like a nuisance on Magma, we'll be able to quickly respond to them in due course. And secondly, which is an important update that we do want to disclose now, is that we are probably going to be doing some changes in terms of voice chat and video chat. Because we want to make sure that Magma is a safe place for everyone, we are probably going to be rolling out an update in the near future in which we're going to be slowing down or like, I wouldn't say stopping permanently, but I would say pausing voice chat and video chat for individuals under 18. And the reason why this is the case is because we want to make sure that we want to decrease the amount of exposure of individuals who are maybe above age and those who are underage within like art spaces, because that we believe that if you are coming on Magma and there are already ample enough opportunities for you to collaborate with other people, and voice chat is just not fully necessary from that. Anything else that we want to add here? Just wanted to let everybody know in advance in terms there were questions about actions that Magma is going to be taking in the future to make our platform a safer place.
I would just add to that. I think that's something we covered before. That yeah, we generally want to make sure that anyone who is like still a teenager, not an adult yet, they still can use Magma in a way where it's actually like great experience, and they're like there's no risk of running into like any content they shouldn't be doing. So like we already have this filter for RGEMs where it can be it's possible to mark the RGEM as not safe for work. There's also, as I mentioned, we're adding this filter for the feed as well. So that's I think the general kind of direction we're going into. And like I think some of you, like I've seen some of the reports like also mentioning that there are like some folks that sometimes like try to circumvent those limitations or like those limits. So as usual, I would say please let us know when you see such case, and we always like look at those reports and act on them, because and as a part of that, it's actually very helpful for us because we can take a look at such cases and think, okay, so what else we can do to kind of make sure that this doesn't happen. So yeah, like just wanted to let everyone know that all the reports are very helpful for us to figure out best ways yeah to prevent this from happening. Yeah, okay. I see comment in the chat exactly on that note. Minors making not safe for work gems, me and a few others have seen a rise of this coming up. Yeah, so so please do definitely keep reporting, and we, as Sungan mentioned, we are looking into some ways where we can actually act on those reports even faster. Since we're not a large team, and I would say proportionally, the amount of users that are using Magma is quite a few times or several orders of magnitude larger than the size of the team. So moderation team is generally quite busy. That's why kind of that first part of the update Sungat was mentioning is that figuring out how we can actually be even more responsive and act on those as fast as we can.
Nice. All right, so that's it in terms of moderation. And finally, well, I guess not finally, alongside all these new sneak peeks, Marta, would you be interested to talk about spectator mode? Oh, I believe you are muted.
Oh, sorry, let me just share my screen and I'll just. Okay.
But heads up, everyone! This one is quite exciting, I would say, but yeah, very curious what everyone
Okay, my screen is just.
thinks.
Yeah, so let's say you are lurking through art jams live, checking what's going on, thinking which one to join, which one to select. And sometimes it happens that you join a jam and you can see whatever people are doing there, but either it's full or maybe the contents were not as interesting as you thought from the thumbnail. So or another scenario, you're a jam moderator and you want to keep everything in order. So we want to introduce a new functionality for art jams, new experience type, which would direct first to a limited version of the editor that we would call the spectator mode. Before you jump in on the canvas and start doodling, you can first check what are the rules, who is doing what's the aim of the jam. You can chat with people. You can see observe what else are what others are drawing. Maybe you want to only see and watch what others are drawing before you start your own drawing. Or you just want to hang out with your friends. And from the perspective of the jam owner, jam moderator, maybe you have so many artists eager to join your jam that you feel overwhelmed and you cannot approve everybody at once. So you need to put some order to the whole event, and that's where the spectator mode would come handy. In this view, we are impersonating Marcus, who joined the canvas of an art jam as a spectator. As you can see, the tools are limited. You can see the description, the rules, the profile of the jam owner, and the layers can interact with others through chat. But the Marcus cannot draw yet. So after maybe chatting or requesting to join, they would receive a layer maybe. And so Michelle is the jam owner. She gets the notification that Marcus wants to contribute to the jam. Also through the participant list, we want to introduce a new icon of like waving hand to show, to indicate that somebody wants to jump in and start drawing. After approving, now we are again in the Marcus view, let's say, the person who wants to join. The person needs to then officially join the art gem, and with the status changed from spectator to drawing, you can see that Marcus, our first persona, has now available all tools and properties, and also and can start contributing to the jam. This way we could also allow more people in sort of like a waiting room for a jam. Sometimes it happens that with current performance limitations, we cannot allow everybody at once. Sometimes there are some moments when you are hosting a jam, you want to clear the layers or you want to merge them down to make more space, or change the subject of the jam. So there is some maintenance time needed. In this time, you can move everyone to spectators. So no art would be like, I don't know, interfering with the process you are trying to organize in your event. And yes, this can also allow jam moderators and jam admins owners to prepare the canvas beforehand. You can create well, actually I've seen that probably for some of our jams there is this like a waiting time where in the chat or people are agreeing on what to draw together, and then is this moment they release the crack and everyone is jumping into the drawing at once. So this is something that programmatically could enable this sort of movement notion, because not every time everyone are paying attention to the chat or to what the jam owner is saying, when to draw, when not to draw, and etc. So for some of the more organized events, I guess this would be useful. Yes. So from the features we want to add, so you've seen probably already revamp of the chat. There is also a plan to make the moderation of participants easier, to assign them roles, whether or not they are approved, to align it with the permission system, who can create a layer, etc., etc., to bring more power to the jam owners.
Can I add something?
Yes.
We actually and a lot of, because we've been hearing quite a lot of feedback about from the community about like some stuff moderating the jam being a bit difficult, like having to like manually find who has drawn like specific line on the canvas and then like removing that line, locating that line, and so on. So overall, we actually did a test a few weeks ago, I think, where we asked Ryan, could you please try to run a jam that would like have 100 participants to see how difficult it is for a single person to be running such jam and drawing in that jam simultaneously. And I think that was an experiment that additionally kind of opened our eyes that it's really a tough job to run a successful jam. And we didn't even like, I think Ryan, you didn't even get to like more than 35 people, because it was already maybe we actually didn't know why. We actually thought maybe that's because everyone is used to the fact that you can't join jams that are bigger than 30. So even if you removed limit, it wasn't possible. But what was like that maximum number? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it wasn't much. It wasn't much over 30. I think we might have got about 36 or so. But it's exactly as you say. People, it's like our user base is kind of trained already to know that once you get to 30 users, that's it. It either lags way too much, or it's just not possible. There's most likely not going to be a layer available, that kind of thing. So I think people's behavior, they're just rather, okay, well, there's going to be no space for me anyway. Let me go to another jam. So it's a tricky one.
So what was your experience like moderating a jam with 35 people and drawing at the same time? How did it go?
Near impossible. So because now we're opening this thing up a little bit, so I want as many people to be able to draw as possible. I took the approach of, you kind of have to request a layer if you want to draw, because often people come in. You guys have hosted jams. You've seen people just pop in and then they leave, and sometimes they'll just like make a couple of squiggles and then they leave, and then there's this layer that you have to clean up later. So I wanted to take the approach of, if you want to draw, you've got to ask for a layer. People are more likely to spend some time, and it got to a point where there was just no time to actually draw for myself. I was constantly managing the art jam. So it's a lot of effort, and I have a lot of respect for people who run a tight ship with their art jams.
Nice.
Can I chime in
I think-
here with?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I? Yeah. So I run an event called Art Jams here in the Discord every week, right? And sometimes there's maybe like 5 to 20 people in the voice chat, but on the canvas, we have been known to range between like 50 and 150 people on the canvas on a weekly basis. And I could tell you right now, like when I set up my permissions, it's like it's almost everything is admin except for a few things which are approved, and nothing is left standard because and I've noticed like when people join your canvas, the number one thing you can do to avoid getting griefed is have someone wait a minute. If they can wait 1 minute to be approved on the canvas, the likelihood of your canvas getting griefed goes down to almost zero, because people who want to, get into your canvas and mess up your canvas, they don't have the patience. They just want to go in there, have some fun, and leave, right? So my approach is to keep such a tight ship that nobody can, get in. And for me, like I don't draw during because it's just impossible. So I just want to give a testament to that as well, because it's a whole thing. Like to be an admin of a board is right now, like you can't really draw, and I would like for that to become more streamlined. That would be really cool, so that in the future, it could be like easier. And I have like multiple moderators helping this event, so it's not it's not just me. Yeah. Normally everyone but me gets to draw.
That's a great point, and you actually gave me, I don't know if we discussed this idea before in the team, but so generally having this way of like some people are on the canvas and can draw, and some are in this like still kind of in the lobby, they're just like watching for the time being. They can approve. It actually allows us to experiment with a few approaches, and I just thought about the approach when you were like speaking about, okay, like if person has to wait 1 minute, maybe they just like get bored and leave. We could probably like also experiment with ways where for the first few minutes, if you join a jam, only you are seeing your layers are hidden. Nobody else sees your art until that gets like, maybe that could be another like approval where, okay, you draw something, now you get like the full approve, everyone can see it. So kind of even maybe making like setup where it's possible to have like kind of different stages of approval would make it even easier for like those canvases that are popular and get a lot of like folks joining just to grief. So definitely with this approach we can experiment a lot how we can make griefing much less of a problem on the jams. So yeah, it's quite exciting.
Ooh, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah,
One
I
other
also
thing I
want
wanted.
to
Go ahead.
Sorry. We absolutely forgot about the layer inspector that we are planning to do, if I'm not leaking too much again. Right? So
Let the floodgates open, I guess.
Oops. So yeah, you mentioned, Wojtek, that there is an issue. Some people are just joining and I don't know, testing if their pen is working, right? and then leaving. So and then usually after that there's a chat message appearing like, hey, what is this line across my drawing, can somebody remove it? Yeah, so I guess then looking for a layer, which one was it with the line, with a single line across, which is really tiny on the layer panel. I'm sure that everyone was there like trying to find the actual layer. So to make this easier, also for moderation purposes, is a name that we put on our board recently as well.
Mm. One other minor comment: if you could go, Marta, to the first screen when you were showing like the ArtGem owner as a one of the because it's a minor update, but I also want to mention, because it does seem something that we've been missing for a while. You can see that one important change we want to introduce. We want to also give more spotlight for the on the ArtGem creator, because while we have the concept of drawing owner, we never really like specifically put a spotlight on the creator of the jam, which we think is is something that should be done, just because of like everything that we were just chatting about, how difficult it is to run a jam actually, how organize things and make sure that they like the experience is great for anyone who joins. So that's one thing that we want to kind of think about, how we can kind of give like more visibility to creators, make sure that everyone who enjoyed the jam follow them and will join the next one, for example. Um, that's kind of another important point, but because we also see that a lot of you, because the jams are so hard to kind of build a reputation around and like collect the right crowd and so on, and it's actually not that easy to get like the same people to get back to your jam if you organize another one. That's kind of another thing we're trying to figure out, how you can kind of build your own network on the Magma. So if you run a jam, everyone knows, oh, like I love the jam of that person last one, I'm gonna join the next one too. So that's another reason why giving like creators more spotlight is something that we want to also focus on. Yeah, we initially this will be just a spotlight on a single person, but we also know, and it was actually even we just discussed it today as well, that often those are like not just a single person, but the whole like the groups of creators or like communities running these jams. But eventually, we also want to have a way to kind of like officially run those jams as a group of artists. So yeah, quite a lot of cool stuff, I think.
All right.
Okay.
So lots of sneak peeks. Hopefully we all got that. But if we have any questions, we can feel free to rewatch this video when it comes out, because we are recording it. But all right, so let's dive into the Q&A part of this Q&A discussion then. Anya, would you like to
Ooh.
take the field, I guess, start asking a couple questions?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Okay, so I've collected all of the questions that you guys had in the AMA text channel. It is now hidden, and it will reopen right before the next AMA. So we've sifted through all the questions, made sure that there are no repeating questions from any past videos. Video 1, 2, and 3, I will put in the chat right now. Bam. And you guys can go watch that. If there are any questions that you did ask that have not been answered, they are surely in there. So let's start. So I have divided them into categories. So the first of which is specific tools. So there are two. The first of which is Zeta asking for spray paint tool, and Polo asking for custom geometric tools, or geometric.
It's like custom shapes.
Custom shapes and spray paint. Like somebody wants a spray paint tool, which I'm pretty sure they can make with the brush generator, but yeah.
Yeah, that's actually very. It's a good point, and actually that's something that I think that Radek, our CTO, who's seen the question, he actually like already asked like in our Discord. I guess that wasn't asked to me to forward the question, but question from him was, what makes like the spray paint tool different from regular brush? I think I can think of like one thing that comes to my mind is like the build up of the spray paint. I think in some software, like when you keep spraying, it like keeps kind of adding in the same place, so you can kind of control the application of the paint. But if for the person asking, would be actually great to get a bit more insights into like how you imagine your like perfect spray paint in Magma to work, that would definitely make it easier to think about it, and maybe even like figure out if that's something that is actually doable with our brush system, if only we added some other custom shape, for example, for the spray paint. So please do let us know. Maybe we can build some brushes that would behave in a similar way. And the second one, the geometry tools shapes.
The custom.
Was the
Because
question?
we do have
Oh, the custom
we do
shape.
have shapes. Like we do have a shapes section, like where you can pick out different shapes. But they're asking specifically for custom, like where they can kind of make it themselves.
Yeah, we are not actively working on that. Like what I can tell is that internally those shapes are SVGs, so they're like vector files that are kind of imported into Magma, and we have a relatively simple way to add new shapes, but like in a way where they show up for everyone on Magma Sun. So like like we have already 2 collections that you can find there. We can add more collections anytime, but we don't have a like UI for all of you to upload those by yourself. This is something that is planned, but we're not working actively on it. But if anyone has actually a collection, because even the ones that we do have, we made in collaboration with some studios and artists. So if you do have a collection that you think would make sense to like for entire like Magma community to be able to use, please reach out to us and we can chat about it. Like if there is a way to work together on expanding Magma brush shape collection. So that's a possibility,
Nice.
definitely. Yeah, at some point we want to add a way to upload custom brushes, but not working actively on it.
Perfect. Okay, so moving right along to a question that has a lot of backing. So we have 4 separate users: GM, Val, Sani, and somebody else whose name is only Chinese letters that I cannot read. I'm sorry. They are all asking, will there be a limit added to the bucket tool or an option to disable it in ArtGMs? I can see Marta laughing. Yeah.
No, like, come
We-
on, who didn't experience flash or turning of the
Yep.
lights in the art gym?
Yes, so we are definitely well aware, as you can see by Marta reaction, about like the issue with bucket tool, and especially that using it like for covering like the drawing. We want to see the best in people, so we actually believe that most of that are like the new like users who are new to Magma. They don't fully understand yet the layer system. It's a bit confusing, and they just do it. Or maybe there's a small gap on the drawing that is like covering everything for everyone. So while I've seen some suggestions where the bucket like fill could be like limited or pretty much, let's say on the ArtGem it could be not allowed, I'm not sure if that's the right solution, to be honest, because for example, like for griefing, if you can't use bucket tool, you're just gonna take like 500 pixel brush and still draw something bad on the canvas for everyone. So that might not be like the solution for this. And for the mistakes, we are actually chatting internally if there is a better way to detect if something was like like accidental. So maybe if you're like I don't remember the specific conditions, but we were like thinking about some small warnings where we predict that this is, if you're drawing with 30 people and you want to cover all canvas with a paint, maybe that's not exactly what you intended. So we probably will try first some way to kind of prevent or warn anyone in some smart way that you're just gonna like cover it for everyone. Are you sure you want to do that? And see if that solves the problem before any kind of more for like like more limiting steps. So that's what we're thinking. I don't have a timeline, but we were actively speaking about this. So probably that's something that might happen sometime soon.
All
Nice.
right. Perfect. Thank you for that. So next category is user and interface. So we have Riftly and Pest. They're both asking, could the profile gallery interface be improved? So like the upload and crop confusion.
Could you repeat the last sentence? upload and
Could the profile gallery interface be improved? So like the way that it uploads and crops from the gallery. Like could they have options on where it crops? Kind of like ArtStation. Have you ever uploaded on ArtStation where they let you crop whatever so that when you back out into your gallery, you see the crop you want?
So like it's like
so
a thumbnail kind of
Thumbnail crop.
picking. Yeah.
Not crop of the actual posted image.
Yes.
Yes. So we already have a cropping system. I don't know if the question specifically like relates to the cropping that we do have, or rather is it like because of I think our cropping is not available in those scenarios. Long story short, like with our cropping, it's probably in many cases it's slightly more complicated because we think about this in a way where we had a lot of like internal discussions on okay, so how does it work when you post collaborative canvases? Because that's where it gets a bit tricky. Because let's say you were in a jam, you want to post like an artwork, but it's not just you. It was like quite a few others drawing with you there as well. So like one thing we early on decided is that we want to make sure that there's always proper attribution to anyone who is included in that part of the canvas that you're posting, which has some limitations, as is like programmatically detecting who drawn what is not a single like simple task. So our current crop tool, it goes actually to the canvas where you can select the area of cropping, and then you can also like see who are the authors that you will be tagging when you're posting, as they were like also creating this part of the canvas. So I think we still are kind of experimenting and trying to figure out what's the best flow, because one of the things I think we even chatted maybe previously is that even when cropping your part, like your own part of the artwork, sometimes it would be cool to show the whole artwork. So we are trying to figure out, okay, is there a way to just post the whole canvas, maybe crop your own part as a single, like one of the images, but then show this whole canvas too, and just let everyone know, okay, this was a shared canvas and this is my tiny part. So I do expect we're gonna be iterating on this a bit more, but just wanted to mention that in collaborative apps, some things are a bit more complex than like in the single user flow, which is I think the backstory here.
That's all good. Thank you for answering. So moving right along, Joltik asks, can users set display names per art space, kind of like Discord?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a cool one. So previously in Magma, you I don't know, maybe 1 year ago, you only like users only had like single username. It had to be unique. So we introduced the concept of display names, which are separate from usernames, just some time ago. And actually, one of the reasons for that was to be able in the future to make it possible to customize display name per different context. So have a few kind of, let's say, public profiles or personas. So definitely something we anticipate. It's not top of the priority right now as we're rolling some of those social features, but yeah, we do have it planned somewhere in the future.
Nice. And last of this category by @Grander. Can we switch accounts without fully logging out each time? It's especially difficult with 2FA.
Probably the main question would be what's the use case for having multiple accounts, because probably we envision it rather as having different profiles within a single account rather than having two separate accounts, because like ultimately I think having multiple accounts make it slightly harder. For example, on the moderation front, this is something that probably Sunget you can speak more to. But I think generally from the platform point of view, it makes it easier to have a single point of reference to a given user. So like, for example, when we show you a new tutorial that we have a new blog article, you only see it once ever in Magma, rather than like see it every time you log into the app. Or like if you customize your settings, you only have to do it once because it's safe in your account. But you retain the ability to have different personas if you use Magma for, let's say, work and fun, by having those like public profiles. So I probably that's the direction we go first before allowing to switch accounts easier. but if there are specific use cases, for example, you need to use different email for like work um, and um, and fun, that's probably something we could support within a single account too. So it would be great to know more what is the use case you have in mind.
Okay. Well, they didn't specify, but that was a great answer. Thank you. Let's move right along to platform and performance. So the next user's name is fully in Korean. I can't read it, so I'm really sorry. But they asked, could the layer limit be raised far above 60?
It's probably it could, but I think the main issue is that in order to do that, all the devices on the canvas would have to be like strong enough to support this number of canvases. So this is main reason for 60 being this kind of compromise where, okay, we figure out that with 60 we're not getting, like, not too many users are getting like into some issues with like lack of memory and so on. I think the dev team has some ideas of how some things can be optimized further. We also chatted about the multi-board that for some complex canvases might help you break down the large canvases into smaller ones. Oh yeah, and yes, as Damian mentioned, we do have 200 for Blaze as well, so that's a possibility. But yeah, generally, even though it's part of Blaze, I would say performance is a part of it, because especially on mobile devices, those like very large canvases can get a bit tricky. So we constantly kind of optimize performance, trying to make it easier. But yeah, I think that the current limit is set to 15. It's not Magma developers being mean and not allowing anyone to undo. It's more on the technical side of what's kind of puts strain on our servers.
Thank you. Okay. Moving right along. So Val asks, will UI updates continue? Could we toggle between light and dark themes?
Marta, you want to share some thoughts on this one, or should I?
I leaked already too much to the beginning of the... Yeah, well, definitely there is a plan to do this kind of adjustment for different preferences of all of you. Some like dark modes, it's easier on the eyes. Some like light mode, it's just cleaner, and maybe when you start from a very light canvas or light colors on your drawing, then it's more suitable to have this light surrounding. So yes, this is maybe not in the very near future, but soon TM will happen.
Yes, I would just add to that I've seen we've seen some mixed feedback about the new chat version where we remove the speech bubbles. So it's great to hear we actually plan some improvements for the making it easier to read through the text and so on. But I think part of that is kind of directly related to what Marta was chatting about, that we want generally to have like Magma, because maintaining an interface where some elements are kind of in the light mode, some are in the dark mode, it's more difficult than having like full dark mode versus full light mode. So this is the direction we're going to. Eventually everyone will be able to choose the interface that they prefer, but that simplifies like our UI efforts. I think we also I believe, I don't know if that's the next question maybe, but I think there was some question about like generally being able to customize the experience, or rather I think there were like I see some questions about being like able to go back to the old layout. One thing that I would probably mention is that keeping multiple options, we try to do it as much as we can when we figure out, okay, like everyone can have a different preference, so we try to be mindful what can be customized versus what is the same for everyone. when rolling out changes, we often don't do that because, like, again, keeping like two different versions of a certain component or part of AI, it's just harder on the dev team, and we still have a lot of things to build, so that's something that makes it more difficult for us to roll out new things. What we usually do, though, as much as we can, is we actually give like early access to the beta team, so we can get everyone's opinions ahead of making a full rollout to the whole community. So if you're interested in the UI or like any other tools, please like reach out and maybe become a part of our beta testing team, so you could help us getting those insights early on when the feature is still in development. Because for majority of features, we're probably going to be using approach where we test first with small group of users and then roll out to everyone. So help us make those changes exciting for everyone. Probably that would be my answer.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, well, rolling right into admin and moderation tools. This is perfect. So I can't pronounce these names. My apologies. Niande and Nianoon. Sorry if I murdered that. But will we get to have a block or mute feature for users?
Also, as we are coming close, let's see if we can rapid fire through all of these.
Oh boy. Okay, I have like so many more, but
Block
you guys can
slash
stop me
mute.
anytime.
Sure.
Yes.
Block/mute, yes, sort of. We have been discussing about how to specifically do it. I've been working on specs in terms of how it specifically can be executed, but yes, it's something we're looking on. Direct messages for those not on Discord. We understand that that is something that we want to implement. However, before that can even become a case, we have to strengthen the moderation side of things just for user safety. Separate moderation layer for adult boards. Do we know what that means? Is GM here?
I'm not sure. But I here, let me filter through. I don't think we have to answer that one because they already talked about like additional moderation tools, and I think that would help with exactly what that person's question is asking. Let's move right along to, could we get a chat filter and block specific words within canvases?
Sort of, yes, in terms of not on your end, but on our end, we've been developing a chat filter, and that we are going to be rolling that out alongside moderation updates, which will be constantly updated as new terms and new words show up.
Nice.
Admin pins, yes.
We can, okay, that question is self-evident. Basically, there was a question that was asking, can you pin layers? Yes, you can. You could just lock it. Next section would be, are we adding blending modes or filters like radial blur and all that?
Some blurs already. We have more.
Yes, we have some, but I know we have some missing. We see like quite a few. Like I think the addition is one of the modes that has been coming up quite a lot. Okay, I'm not sure from the top of my mind, but what I would probably say is that we, for some time we've been heavily focusing on the social features, like a lot of things that we rolled out recently. We just got back to developing some of the creative features again. So probably I can share one more thing, that right now we're working from like the creative tools. We're working on the allowing pen pressure for the opacity slider, because this is something that a lot of you also told us that is like making it, for some artists, it's just like making the workflow very hard if you can't precisely control the opacity. We have a really cool progress on this, so I hope we can roll it out soon. And then we're gonna be looking at like some like future creative features that we that will roll out. Not sure yet what will be the next one, but if you have strong preference, it always helps to know like why exactly certain feature is blocking you or like preventing you to create your best art, because ultimately it's very hard to make a decision which creative tools are needed the most. And we always try to gauge, okay, so is it a quality of life improvement, or is it like really critical to a large number of artists? So the more details we get, the easier it is for us to make a decision what's next.
Okay, so I have 3 last questions. Okay, as rapid fire as we can. So will there be a public art space discovery feature like the Discord's Explore tab?
Probably we can keep this for next AMA. We have some news on that front, but
Ooh.
yeah, let's share more next time, I would say.
Oh, okay. So the next one is, can we have chat spaces linked to art spaces separate from canvases?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think it has been coming up for a while, but I probably would maybe give a similar reply as soon as like earlier, is that we want to expand the chat features, like including direct messages, but also we see that there are some things on the moderation side where that we need to improve to make this like like keep improving like the communication. So yes, definitely that we see the need for that, but yeah, there's few moderation things we need to do first. Yeah.
Yeah, and our official last question, thank you for that answer, by the way, is how does Magma keep picking such wonderful devs? I thought I did
I
on
have no
a good note,
idea.
guys. So I do want to point out some of the questions submitted for this AMA. They are already answered in past AMAs, so please do have a peruse of all of our 3 other videos. This is going to be our 4th and will be posted as soon as it can be uploaded. Just note that the AMA text channel does open next month, just real shy of the AMA. So if you want your question addressed, please use that text channel. Thank you for coming. Thank you to our wonderful devs for being here today, and for Sun Yat for hosting with me.
Aw, thanks. And thank you all so much for coming. I do know that we didn't have the opportunity for like a live Q&A today, but if you do have any questions, like feel free to ask them either in general or in help or in all of the separate discussion channels, or also just report them specifically on just Canny and the feedback and everything on that end. We love to hear your questions and we really answer them for the future. But for now, that's all we have time for today. Thank you all so much for coming, and hope you have a good rest of the day.
Thank you
Great.
all.
Bye.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.